God. Let me check the audio. La 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 la. Okay, finally we has the audio. We has the audio. Can you believe? Can you believe we has the audio? Can you believe? Believe. Para la 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 la. Oh my God, my brain, my poor brain. My very poor brain. Very, very poor brain. All right. What? What are you saying? What are you saying? Nights, nights, very nights. Let's create a copy. A copy. And a paste. Bitty 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bitty 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bitty 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 bum bum. Bum bum bum. Bitty 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 bum. I'm a scat man. Bitty 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bitty 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 bum. All right, let's look at some X. Whoa, who is she? No one works harder or cares more about the American people. Congratulations, Grandpa. I love you. Jesus, he has very hot granddaughters. How old is his granddaughter? Bitty 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 bada bum. Bum bada bum. Bitty 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 bada bum. I'm a scat man. Bitty 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 bum. Let me just confirm. Confirm or deny. One second. I'm a scat man. La 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 li 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 la 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 li 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 la la la. I'm a scat man. Li 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 la la la. The truth will set you free.
Offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say?
I'll say what I want to say. If the consequence of that is losing money, so be it. If somebody's gonna try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself. Like, go fuck yourself. Is that fair? I say what I care about is the reality of this, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay? I think it's a real weakness to want to be liked. A real weakness. I do not have that. What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter. Right. Do you see a rise in hate speech? I mean, just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you do? I don't.
Personally, my for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
You see more hate speech personally?
I would see more hateful content in that.
Content.
Wow, what a liar. Okay, let's see. What is C colon? What does that mean? C colon. C colon? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Can't hear the video. Oh, let me try. Oh, it's a smile. Okay, let me try and scherze video. I'm gonna try scherze video. Here you go. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know. I don't know if it will work. I just don't know. I don't know. Okay, sharing StreamYard, share. La 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 la. I'm scat man.
You don't like or what do you describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think something is slightly sexist that should be banned?
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm
just curious.
saying.
I'm trying to say what you mean by hateful content.
Yeah. They refuse. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. Oh, it does. Oh, okay. Beady, beady, beady. Let me see. I'm gonna start reading what you're saying on Discord. On me iPhone, I have iPhone. Hey, Jesus. You said Jesus. I said thank you. Okay, it does work. It does. Oh, it does. It does. It does. It does work. It does. It does. It does. I said, thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. You know who says Jesus? Beady, 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 beady.
Content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't. Honestly, I
You
don't
name a single example.
I'll tell you why, because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore because I don't particularly like it.
You said
Actually, other people quite similar. I only.
Well, hang on a second. You said you see more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen that you for your hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
You can't give a single one.
And I'm saying.
Then I say so that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I
Here's
claimed,
why.
what I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
Give me
feed
one
or not,
example.
I mean, look at someone like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
Look, people say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can name one.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, it's good. I mean, Elon is learning to debate. Yeah. You have to pin them down and nail them to the floor and beat their head into submission.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
Then how do you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
Good. Embarrass him. Embarrass him. Make him look like the liar that he is. So now he's backpedaling. Oh, there's more hateful. I'm not saying it. The other people say it. Oh, okay. Other. But before Elon at this point should say, well, wait a minute. But before you just said that there is more hateful speech. Now you're saying that other people say. So which is it? So why did you say that there is if that's not what you meant, right? You
literally said you experienced more hateful content and then couldn't name a single.
Jesus Christ. Good. He's slamming his head into the mat. Good.
Example.
Right,
That's absurd.
I haven't actually.
That's absurd. Absolutely. What a liar. What a liar. Just a liar. What a liar. And that's all they are, just liars.
Looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
No, you don't move on. No, we're not gonna move on. You're gonna take it back. Take it back. It's fine. Retract, right? You have retractions when you write your stories. You can retract a story. Retract what you said. You can retract.
Believer that people need to are more productive when they're in person. And really, man, and the whole sort of work from home thing. It's like I think it's. But there are some exceptions, but I kind of think that the whole notion of work from home is a bit like the fake Marie Antoinette quote, "Let them eat cake." It's like really you're going to work from home and you're going to make everyone else who made your car come work in the factory. You're going to make people who make your food that gets delivered that they can't work from home. The people that come.
That doesn't make any sense. That literally makes no sense. That's like you're gonna make the guy that makes your food. The guy that makes my food can make it from home. I don't care. Make it from home. What are you talking about? What about a guy that makes food at home? Why should I go to the factory if the guy that makes my food can make it from home? That's ridiculous. Elon, incorrect.
Come fix your house.
In Portuguese, we say "incorrectamente, completamente."
They can't work from home, but you can. Does that seem more?
Oh my God, he's turning his face sideways. Oh, Jesus, help me!
Are right? That's messed up.
You see, there's a moral issue.
Yes.
Moral? Oh my God! It's immoral! It's immoral! Oh my God, it's immoral! Morality! It's because of Jesus!
I mean, I see it more as
It's a productivity issue, but it's also a moral issue.
Oh, it's a productivity issue, but also, no, Elon, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Wrong.
People get off the goddamn moral high horse with that work from home bullshit. Because they're asking everyone else to not work from home while they do.
And yet there's still pushback, by the way. It's still going on. This battle is still happening. I mean, leaders of organizations, and I speak to plenty of them, I want people back. 3 days a week, they're still battling. It's not clear that it's ever going to change. So people.
It's a very nice. It's a very, very nice. A very, very nice. It's a very nice. Alex Jones, leftist. Leftist. Alex Jones is an anti-Semite, by the way. So leftist, but he helped Trump. So like I'm conflicted. Leftists flipping out over Trump re-election. Ultimate compilation. Is it okay to laugh? Alex Jones reports. Tune in to breaking news and reports. No! Oh my God. Jesus Christ. 1 second. Para 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 beep pa pa para bum. Pa pa para bum. No! 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 What the fuck? Oh, these are all transformers. Are you allowed to say trans? I don't even know. What are we allowed to say? It's like every day we're not allowed to say the new word that we invent because they don't let us say the previous word. So it's all like T. It's all T's. It's T's all the way down.
We are fucking over! You
Wow, she's not ugly. Wait, how does an ugly...
fucking dumbass! I hope that you choke on a piece of concrete.
Wait, why can I hear myself talking? Why can I hear myself talking? What's going on? Why can I hear myself talking? What is going on here? What is going... It suddenly started streaming on my desktop. I know understand very good. I know understand. What just happened? The stream was cut? What's going on? Is the stream okay? Let me check if my stream... Yeah, I can see you. I can see you, Ambers. Yeah, the stream seems to be doing fine. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Let's continue. Let's continue watching the poor souls. Oh.
Concrete and literally go.
Wow, she's hot. Why would they be liberal? They're hot chicks. Why are hot chicks libs?
The hell. I will see you in fucking hell, you fucking asshole. Why?
We're about to show you some more of the latest complete meltdowns and freakouts by leftists here in the United States because they think the second coming of Hitler has come with President Trump being reelected for the third time to be the 47th president of the United States.
For the third time because the second time he was also voted in according to them. Oh Jesus, I'm so confused. Everybody's so confused. I'm confused.
They have Stockholm syndrome. They love the establishment. They love their abusers. They think that they're the mavericks, the underdogs, the rebels. But conservatives and populists who are making fun of them need to understand that these people were brought up in this culture. They were set in front of the television by their parents. They were then brainwashed by the educational system. And these are fellow Americans who we lost to the brainwashing. And so I really don't think it's a laughing matter, even though at certain levels I understand it's hilarious. But when you understand how truly illiterate these people are on just how culture and systems work, they have no street smarts. You understand that it's the process. I'd like to ask really smart people and address the no equals and the relational system. So I asked her one, two,
no more
engineers, the BlackRock, Bill Gates, EVD. It's so good for your whole body, inflammation, joints, you name it, see them locked in this mental illness. And so I ask all of you again, how do you think we reach out to them? Here's some more of the very, very sad behavior.
How did we get here? How did we get here? What in the Alice in Wonderland nightmares is going on right now? All I can say is how fucking dare you? If you voted for that man, if you voted for anybody other than Kamala and you live in one of the states that it was, close, or if you didn't vote, fuck you. It's not gonna happen. Go Kamala. I chose family, I chose women, I chose America. I love you. How the fuck is this still happening? All I've ever known politically is hatred.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
I'm sorry. All my friends who are Trump supporters.
There's some pretty hot chicks. What is going on here? I'm honestly confused. Why would a hot chick support Kamala? That doesn't make any. That does not compute.
understand how scared of this man I am. If this guy does end up winning again, all of the people
I mean, she's not ugly. I mean, the camera of the angle makes her nose kind of big, but she looks pretty hot.
who voted for him will be like happy and
She's not fat.
he'll just be celebrating. And everyone who feels threatened by him is like scared. Like we're scared for our lives. We're scared.
They're scared for their lives. Maybe it's OnlyFans promo. I don't think that's the way to get fans on OnlyFans.
Our friends. How dare you put this man into office for another?
So she's not hot. She has multiple problems, but she might have a hot body, so I don't want to judge.
4 years, knowing damn well what it means for our country, what it means for us as a people. To know that there is that much ignorance and that much hate in this country, it's so terrifying. It's so terrifying. How the fuck are we
It
back in the
is
same
because
situation
guys
again?
hate watch porn. No one hate watches porn. What are you talking about? No one wants to watch politics when they watch porn. Like, porn needs to be porn. You need to concentrate on porn. Porn means porn, like pornographing. She's look, she actually puts on makeup, and she has a ring and what do you call the fingernail polish? She has nail polish, and she has lipstick. I mean, she's all made up. She wears makeup. She has perfect eyebrows. She doesn't look ugly. She looks bearable. Plus,
Who the fuck is voting for him? Genuinely.
anyway, they're so upset that they're turning me on. By the way,
Fuck you. I don't want to hear about how shitty your life gets under his policy.
that's pretty hot.
Live with that decision.
Like, if I had the chick that would talk to me like this would be a pretty good. That would be a good day.
Let it make you uncomfortable. Fuck you.
Awesome.
CBD that already gives you 4RCBD.com lies in the Democratic Party about resistant bacteria. They're known as, on average, about support. You have a better chance of not getting the satellite uplinks. The today and get these great quality products.
Very nice. Very nice. Look at that. So episode 4 was A New Hope. Now, if you want to see someone hot, what's her name? Her name is not Kamala. What's her name? Trump's wife. Not Hillary. Trump and not Clinton. What's her name? What is her name? Ivanka? No, somebody else. Mrs. Trump. What's Mrs. Trump's name? I don't remember. Look at how short not Biden. What's his name? What's the little boy's name? Wait, are you there? Are you listening? You're my fact checker. You need to give me the names of the people. Byron. So Byron, he's like 6'11" or something. He's so tall. It's so funny. He's a giant and he's handsome. And then the Empire Strikes Back, Biden. Oh my God. And then the Return of the Jedi, Trump. Oh my God. This is so hilarious. Hilarity ensues. Okay, Trump saved us twice. Oh my God. My pronouns are has been. Oh, my pronouns are has been. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Help me, oh, Jesus. America is the best place on earth, and let us strive for ever greater heights. Absolutamente, completamente. Donald Trump.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
Meet your new vice president. Oh my God! What a great vice president. Unfortunately, he's a little bit of a communist. He understands economics basically as well as Kamala. That's unfortunate. I hope he doesn't completely destroy the economy. He's done it again. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-lee-ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Oh my God. Hey, dude, you're fucked. The moment the election was decided. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm not sure we could have saved America and Elon Musk not spent 40 billion to buy Twitter and save free speech. He deserves the presidential medal for it. That's absolutely true. I mean, but he got it all back in one day. Yesterday, he got 15% on Tesla. I think he earned more than 40 billion in one day. But yeah. Oh my God. Goodbye. Yeah. Good riddance. I don't care that he's trans, she's trans, whatever, they're trans. But they're just commies, and commies shouldn't be in our midst. Uh, Dark MAGA Assemble.
He calls it dark MAGA.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
My sole and exclusive mission is to go to work for our country, to go to work for you. It's time to deliver a victory for the American people. We don't win anymore, but we are going to start winning again.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm Gothic MAGA.
From mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words. You will never be ignored again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. We'll start winning again, winning like never before. I will never, ever let you down.
This is Donald Trump's house, brother.
I will always give you my love.
Unbelievable. That's awesome. That is so awesome.
America is a nation of believers, dreamers, and strivers. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. Very nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. I must admit. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, okay. It's the final countdowns. It is morning in America again. This is so good that now Elon figured out that he needs to be in politics. This is great. I think Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are gonna enter politics too on the same side. I already because I already saw that they both are basically on Trump's side. So this is very good. Very good. Very good. What is this? Kamala, San Francisco, California, United States. Oh my god. Who else is glad to see this garbage taken out? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Not that I care. You can be as gay and as trans as you want. I don't care. Just don't be a commie. That's all I ask. I'm not asking for much. Just don't be a commie. That's all. This is the first time the Simpsons were wrong. Just voted in Cameron County, Texas, home of Starbase. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Uh, Alexa, who's the president of the United States?
Who's the president of the United States?
The U.S. president is Donald Trump. The U.S. president is Donald Trump.
Oh my God, very nice. 2 assassination attempts, 2 impeachments, 2 general election opponents in 1 cycle, 9 years of relentless slander and hoaxes, 9 years of weaponized institutions, 91 politicized charges. They threw everything at him because he was fighting for all of us. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, this was a major battle. I mean, one of my favorite people is Yaron Brook, but when it comes to Trump, he's such a complete buffoon. He's such a dork, as John Anthony calls people. Such a dork. All right, very nice. It's a very nice. Let's see what's going on with the YouTubes. Russian worker cuts too much. Entire stadium collapses. 6 days ago. 3 years ago. The standard model of theory. Okay. Open discussion on Ether. Okay. What's this? Go inside XB1. What is that? One video. Okay. Goldstone boson from Ward identity. Okay. A new kind of mitochondria. Okay. What? What? So just to let you understand, when you learn in school, everybody knows the most useless piece of information they teach you is that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That's the most useless piece of information. However, the mitochondria is the most amazing, the most fascinating aspect of life on Earth. The mitochondria is a separate life form in every cell. It's a completely foreign life form. It has a completely separate DNA. The mitochondria is in itself a cell. It's a separate cell with its own DNA. But it only gets copied from mother to egg. So the eggs have the mitochondria. They get produced with the eggs get produced with the mitochondria, fully functional, and the sperm doesn't have anything to say about the mitochondria. So the mitochondria is only from your mom's lineage. It has a name, matriarchal lineage. Anyway, it is so amazing. I mean, when you learn, I don't know why they don't teach this. So the way the human or any animal cells, the way it looks is that at one point during the evolution, so our ancestor that used to be a single cell consumed the proto-mitochondria but didn't kill it. The mitochondria either it ate the mitochondria for lunch, or the mitochondria tried to invade it and live inside it, and they created this bond, a one-off event, a coincidence that the mitochondria, I don't know why she decided to enter our proto ancestor, but she did, and it worked out. They and the next time that the cell reproduced, our proto ancestor single cell, when it went through mitosis or whatever, when it went through fission, when it split in two, so too did the mitochondria decide to split in two. Or the mitochondria also reproduced. They decided to somehow start coordinating their reproduction, their splitting, their fission, their mitosis. I think it's called mitosis. This is absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm sure that, right? But this was a single event. That wouldn't make any sense. That a single event. I mean, too many things had to go right. So it probably what first happened was the mitochondria first started to move in close to our parent forefather single cell. They probably were two. So you already see that there were two single celled. Obviously, there were multiple single celled creatures. Wait, I'm not sharing. That's not good. So there used to be multiple. What am I doing? Multiple single celled ancestors that we had. One of them was the mitochondria, the other one was our proto-parent cell, single cell. And they probably started living together side by side. And then maybe one day a mitochondria moved into a proto-parent of ours. But that could not have been a one-off. It must have been that slowly the mitochondria started moving into our proto ancestors. This used to happen a lot. And they lived as a symbiosis. They lived successfully together. The mitochondria used to reproduce outside and then move into our proto ancestor. But then slowly they became more and more dependent on each other. And as soon as our proto-parent split in two, it needed a mitochondria. It went to find a mitochondria, or it would have died. And the same goes for mitochondria. Mitochondria should not be, started to become dependent on our proto-parents, single-celled parents. And then at one point, there was a mutation in the mitochondria that coincided with the, must have been slowly that they started mutating in such a way that they started going through mitosis together. And as the cell was ready for mitosis, it signaled the mitochondria to go through mitosis. And slowly it worked out. I mean, I'm sure it's over multiple generations that at the end, the mitochondria, it's what it is today. It's in every one of our cells, I think. I don't think it's inside a blood. I don't think a blood cell has mitochondria. It might, I don't know. But no one teaches it. They don't teach you this. They don't teach you this. That's really unbelievable. They should teach much more evolution than they do. I mean, we shouldn't have schools, but if we want to have schools, we should teach that.
Which could help explain how they can produce. Believe it or not, both of these structures are actually mitochondria.
We were as surprised as everyone that there would be this mechanism of mitochondria would become specialized subpopulations.
It turns out that mitochondria come in two different types, which could help explain how they can produce energy and make important building blocks of cells at the same time, even when resources are limited.
And that was impossible to explain. If the standard chemistry works and all these enzymes are in one compartment, that breaks the laws of thermodynamics. It should have compromised the others. So it said there has to be some explanation for this.
Mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell for good reason.
They are responsible for the bulk
There's multiple mitochondria in each cell?
of our ability to make ATP, the molecule that provides the energy source for all activities that cells do.
But it's become clear over the last few years that that's not all they do.
Mitochondria are essential for other things in our body, and that is synthetic reactions that build the building blocks of proteins and lipids that allow us to engage in cell division and cell repair.
Now, that makes sense when there are plenty of resources around. A few years, but that's not all they do.
Mitochondria are essential for other things in our body, and that is synthetic reactions that build the building blocks of proteins and lipids that allow us to engage in cell division.
Wait, what? They do other things other than just convert ATP or something?
And cell repair.
Now, that makes sense when there are plenty of resources around. But when resources are limited, like if a cell is damaged, for instance, that's been hard to explain.
Once the mitochondria is limited for the nutrients with which to make ATP or to engage in synthesis of molecules as precursors, it's got to choose whether it burns into CO2 and water where it can't get them back. That allows you to make ATP, or it takes those molecules and use them as building blocks to build things using the same energy that otherwise would go to ATP production.
So to figure out how this is possible, Craig and the team took cells and started.
By the way, what is this energy? I think the energy is electrical energy. I think ATP is electrically charged, so it could be used. It's like a battery. Every ATP molecule is basically a battery. It's ready to be used. It's like a single charge. It's ready to be used for something, to activate, to right. It's a battery.
Of resources. When they did so, they found that the mitochondria were separating into two very different subpopulations. One, an expert in making ATP, and looks quite familiar to the one you know from school.
So the mitochondria that are enriched in ATP synthesis become the perfect mitochondria that you want to put on a textbook to explain how mitochondria are energy factors. They have highly ordered crystalline. They're really efficient at making the super complexes that allow you to make ATP, and they're the perfect ones to take a picture of if you were to show the classic mitochondria we all learned about in school.
The other were less textbook ready, but they were experts at making the cell building blocks.
The other population actually still has the double membrane of a classic mitochondria, but it's filled with filaments of proteins.
These proteins seem to be key, as Craig and the team narrowed down what was allowing this division of labor to one specific protein that is at the center of these filaments.
There was one linchpin protein that was necessary to make the judgment between these two pathways. That gene has a terrible name and no one knows really much about it. It's called pyrroline 5-carboxylate synthase.
And these two types of mitochondria may be key to help researchers understand things like cancer.
And what we show in the paper, one of the most severe cancers, as they grow, the tumor cells acquire the segregated mitochondria that allows them to maintain their growth.
Linking this strange mitochondria.
The mitochondria, the second type of mitochondria, is what allows cancer cells to grow?
Your behavior and cancer will need more work, which Craig and the team are pursuing. But for now,
wow, that's brilliant. Jesus Christ.
Now, it's fair to say that these little organelles that we all know from school are a lot more complicated.
Hey, what's up, hamburgers? What do you say? What do you say, hamburgers? What do you say? What? You want to talk? I'm here. I'm here. You want to talk about the mitochondria? Bitty 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 bum 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 bitty 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 bum 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 bum. I'm a scan man.
Complicated than we thought, and likely have more mysteries to uncover in the future.
Uncover. Let's see this.
There isn't really a very good definition of life. What is the difference between something that's alive and something that isn't alive? You might think this is a rather simple question to answer, but in fact, it's not so easy to answer.
Every question is impossible to answer or difficult to answer. Every question. Every question. Every question. There's no question that is easy or is possible to answer. Every question you need to supply the answer. What answer would you accept? For every question that you want me to give you the answer to, you need to tell me what answer or what kind of answer is acceptable. Like if you ask me, what is a chair? I don't know where to begin. You have to tell me. We would have to have a very long, arduous discussion what I think is a chair. But at the end of the day, it's just a word. It's like it doesn't really matter what I think is a chair. Or what do I think is quantum entanglement? All right, we can have a discussion. Anyway.
Should be said, I'm by no means the first person to have considered this question. And if you look in Wikipedia or in a dictionary, you often get rather complex answers. And I wanted to go answering what I think is one of the key questions in biology. And the way I approached it was by
So he's asking, what is the definition of life?
Exploring 5 of the great ideas of biology. My name is Paul Nurse. I'm a geneticist and cell biologist. And I've just written a book. It's my first book, and it's called What is Life?
I actually find it excruciatingly boring, this specific topic. Yeah, this is not interesting. Oh, how did life begin?
If in an instant you could magically transport yourself to the ancient Earth 4.5 billion years ago, and then in the next instant you magically transported yourself to now, you may say that only magic or a supernatural force could have transformed the Earth to its present day from its humble beginnings. The diversity of Earth today can be explained largely through evolution by natural selection, a process that occurred over billions of years. But this diversity must have had a seed of some kind. The first semblance of life at some point must have had a beginning, a start from the primordial soup, and it must have started from non-living matter. But how is it that the seemingly unremarkable processes of geology, chemistry, and physics could have combined in precisely the correct sequence to produce the first living matter from non-living matter? This seems to many people utterly impossible. There must have been a blueprint. There must have been an architect, they say. How could such vastness of diversity, functionality, and beauty come from the physical processes of the cosmos and nature? And how could it have happened on its own? That's coming up right now. The origin of living organisms from inorganic or non-living material is called abiogenesis. It's important to distinguish this from evolution. Abiogenesis is not evolution. Evolution is the process of development or diversification of living things from earlier forms of living things. Evolution does not.
Oh, you left?
Say anything about how the life first originated. So how did first life originate? Despite the incredible variations that we see today, at the fundamental level, all living things contain a trinity of elements. First, nucleic acids, which make up the DNA, or its simpler form called RNA. These contain the blueprints of life and are self-replicating molecules. Second, they are proteins, which are the workhorses that
Hey, Amber.
perform the important functions of your body. And third are lipids, which encapsulate the cells of your body.
So nucleic acids, proteins, and lipids. Let's hear it again.
So how did first life originate? Despite the incredible variations that we see today, at the fundamental level, all living things contain a trinity of elements. First, nucleic acids, which make up the DNA.
So JFG, Jean Goriapri, what's his Jean-François Goriapri. He actually, I used to listen to him when he was on YouTube. I no longer get messages. I don't think he produces anything on YouTube anymore. I'm back. Okay, I lost my. No way. You wait. So how are you texting me? Lol, it was in the couch. Oh, Jesus. Well, you never told me. Do you know who says Jesus? Jesus. No, no one says Z. But who says Jesus? I used to have a girlfriend. She used to say Jesus. Jesus. I don't know. Maybe they do, but no. The Korean. So anyway, the Koreans, they say Jesus. Jesus. She used to complain. She used to complain that all her friends want her to believe in Jesus, but she used to say, "But I don't believe in Jesus." And the first time she told me this, I had no idea what she's talking about. What is this? Jesus, I don't know what a Jesus is. I don't believe in Jesus. All my friends, they want me to believe in Jesus, but I don't believe in Jesus. I had no. It took me a while to. What could she be saying? I don't know. What are you gonna ask? What is Jesus? What is it? She said, Jesus! Jesus! I don't know what you're saying. What is Jesus? Oh my God. Oh my God. And then I figured it out. Oh my God. It was. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so funny. It's so funny. What's funny is that like she wanted to have friends, but all the friends wanted her like to be in the church. But she doesn't want to believe in Jesus. Oh my God, it was so funny. It was so funny. Like I could understand her pain. She wants legit friends without having to pretend she believes in Jesus. I have this issue too when I talk to these globe gangsters. Like if I want to get any respect for them, I have to like drop my IQ 50 points and not talk to them about quantum mechanics. It's what am I like? Even if I talk to a really like a smart person, but I'm not allowed to talk about my discoveries in physics, God forbid, or politics, God forbid, because they're gonna, they're all liberals, they're all libtards. So you have to pretend like when you're with them, you have to pretend. It's like it's so difficult, so painful that you can't be yourself. So what's the point of having friends if you can't be yourself? Wait, they can't see you. Share this tab. Oh my God, yeah. Caesar. Okay, let's get back to. So this is actually according to Jean-Francois Gariapri, Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus. Oh my God. Anyway. Zo. Let me see. Starship Flight 6 launch in week with huge changes. FAA suddenly works faster than the FAA knows exactly what's coming. They're gonna get dismantled thoroughly. No more FAA. It's gone. Idiots. They thought they're gonna abuse Elon Musk. Wait, what's going on? I don't Jesus. I don't Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't see Jesus. Oh, I don't Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus. Para para bali pa pa para pam. Pa pa para pam. Pi pam pam para pam. Anyway, Jean-Francois Gariapri. So he actually came up with an interesting concept that in the beginning, there were proteins. In the first thing to ever exist, maybe the first self-replicating molecule was a protein. And the RNA came after to replicate the protein. In the meningin, I don't know, that's difficult. I don't know. He says something like in the beningin there was protein, there was life. Right? We believe today in the RNA theory that life in the beginning was RNA and later became DNA. But really, the DNA it took over. This is JFG. He has a theory that the factory takes over and becomes the new life form. It's basically that we today we took over the world. So it used to be that the genes, the DNA runs the world, and the DNA commanded us. We're just big robots that are supposed to reproduce the DNA. But we're supposed to be the servants of the DNA. The DNA is supposed to be the master. But now we are the masters. We no longer reproduce. And the DNA stopped reproducing. And the DNA is unhappy because it created us in order to facilitate its reproduction. But guess what? The DNA was created by the RNA to facilitate the RNA's reproduction. And guess what? The RNA was created by the proteins to facilitate the protein reproduction. And who knows what, but so that's a very interesting theory that JFG has propositioned. Bidi 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 bada bum. Bum bada bum. Bidi 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 bada bum. Bum bum bum. Bidi 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 bada bum. All right. So, but this guy says he doesn't go that deep. He starts from in the beginning there was a god. Oh no! Instead of a god, there was actually
people utterly impossible. There must have been a blueprint. There must have been an architect, they say. How could such vastness of diversity, functionality, and beauty come from the physical processes of the cosmos and nature? And how could it have happened on its own? That's coming up right now. The origin of living organisms from inorganic or non-living material is called abiogenesis. It's important to distinguish this from evolution. Abiogenesis is not evolution. Evolution is the process of development or diversification of living things from earlier.
I don't know. He says abiogenesis is not Darwinistic. It's not evolutionary. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. You need to tell me. I mean, why would you say that? Why would you presume abiogenesis, the formation of the genesis of bio from abio, the abiogenesis, the genesis, the formation of biology, but at the stage that it was still not biology? It could still have been Darwinistic. Like as soon as right, in the beginning, you had some self-replicating process. In the beginning, you had some self-replicating process, right? Let's say there was a self-replicating molecule. By some process, a molecule started self-replicating somehow, either probably through interaction with the environment. Something in the environment allowed for the reproduction, the duplication, the replication. Now, this is very important. The replication is very important. The copy is very important. Because when you copy and you create something based on a copy, then Darwinism kicks in. Then evolution by natural selection kicks in. So in the beginning, there was a molecule that somehow it self-replicated. It didn't have to self-replicate by itself. It didn't have to, right? I am a guy. I can't self-replicate, right? I need to inseminate a female to self-replicate. And even then I don't self-replicate. And even the female doesn't self-replicate. She needs a guy. So no one actually self-replicates. It's not like somebody can actually self-replicate. The DNA doesn't self-replicate. The DNA has proteins to replicate it. So no one really, there is no self-replication. So to claim that in the beginning there was a self-replicating molecule, that would actually, that would be different than what we see today. Nothing self-replicates. Everything replicates through interacting with something else. I self-replicate by interacting with a hot chick. A hot chick self-replicates by interacting with me. So the first self-replicating molecule probably it didn't have to self-replicate, and it probably didn't. It probably interacted with something in the environment, and together they self-replicated. But once self-replication, somehow, once replication, it's not important if it's self-replication or replication. Once replication started, boom, immediately Darwinism kicks in. And when Darwinism kicks in, is that life or is that not life? It's just a molecule. It could be anything. It could literally be any. It could be a carbon. It could have been a single carbon molecule. But, well, it's impossible to replicate a single. But let's say some structure. It doesn't matter what structure. But that structure somehow started replicating. And then, in the process of replication, you have mistakes, and then you have variations, you have mutations. You already have mutations, and once you have mutations, now you have variations, and now, but even before that, if you just have, okay, so now you have mutations, and you have mutations, therefore variations, but also you have the next thing you must have in order for evolution to actually kick in. Like, until now, it's just mutations. Just like some of them are alive, some of them die, some of them succeed, some of them don't, but some of them succeed more than others. But that's still not enough, because, okay, what you next need is demographic pressure. You need an ecological pressure. You need resource pressure. And now Darwinism shifts into high gear, because now there is selective. Until now, there was no selection. Now there is selection without pressure. And this Darwin actually got from Malthus. So Darwin, we know he read Malthus, and Malthus came up with this notion of demographic pressure. Malthus, anyway, it's a long story. Maybe one day we'll do a deep dive. This is a separate paper that I need to write, but right now I'm not in the path of writing these papers, but we'll come back to this.
Pure forms of living things. Evolution does not say anything about how the life first originated. So how did the first life originate? Despite the incredible variations that we see today, at the fundamental level, all living things contain a trinity of elements. First, nucleic acids, which make up the DNA.
So he says all living things today contain a trinity of elements. So nucleic acids are self-replicating. So we already said there's no such thing as self-replicating. Nucleic acids, meaning DNA, does not self-replicate. There's nothing self-replicating about it. I mean, there are proteins that go down and split it in two and replicate, but it's not, oh, this is RNA and DNA. It doesn't matter. There are proteins that replicate nucleic acids. So nucleic acids are not self-replicating. They are replicating, but they're not. Nothing is self-replicating. There is no known anything that self-replicates. Nothing in the universe that we know self-replicates. So there is a what do you call it when two creatures coincide and they help each other, they live together, they live off each other. They're not parasites. They are, anyway, there's a word for this, when two life forms help each other. So you could say that the DNA and the proteins, they work together to replicate, for the DNA to replicate, because the proteins replicate the DNA. They physically, the proteins do it, not the DNA. The DNA doesn't do anything. The DNA is just a hard disk. The DNA is just a hard disk. It's just memory on the hard disk. a hard disk by itself doesn't do anything. You need the CPU to do something. The CPU and the bus, you need an entire computer. But at the end of the day, the CPU goes to the hard disk and fetches instructions from the hard disk, and that's the program. And then the CPU does whatever the program tells it to do, and that's an app. So the DNA is just the data on the hard disk. It is the physical and the software. It's both. It's just the memory. But it doesn't do anything. There's no moving parts. DNA has no moving parts. Whereas a protein is a purely moving part, but it has basically no memory. A protein has no memory. A protein doesn't have, is not the hard disk. So there's a clear separation of a hard disk, and the protein is the CPU. You could say that the proteins are the CPU. And then the proteins also can read the knowledge from this program, the DNA, and they create RNAs. And then the RNA goes and creates proteins. I mean, yeah, it's a very evolved system.
Or its simpler form called RNA. These contain the blueprints of life and are self-replicating molecules. Second,
the RNA is difficult to say that it's the blueprint of life. The RNA is just it's a momentary instruction set to create, as far as I know, to create protein. It's just so I don't know if that's you could say there's no moving parts to RNA. RNA doesn't have any moving parts. It's just a hard disk. And the same goes for DNA. So if you want, it's just blueprints, fine.
They are proteins, which are the workhorses that perform the important functions of your body. And third,
yes, the proteins are the CPU. And they fold, but they move. They don't just fold, they move. And the motion is facilitated by ATP. So a protein gets ATP injected, it gets the injection of the electron or something, and then that bends it into one shape, and then it might release and bend into another shape. I think that's how it works. Some proteins. I don't know biology.
Are lipids, which encapsulate the cells of your body. Before any living things existed, before animals, plants, and even bacteria existed.
Okay, so these are the fats, the fatty acids, and the glycerol. Is this fatty? I don't know.
These three things had to have been present in the primordial soup.
That's not true. That's absolutely false. In the Beningin, you didn't need. What did you need? I think in the Beningin, because my theory is I think there was RNA. RNA self-assembled, a little tiny strand of RNA self-assembled, and then somehow got replicated. And once that happened, Darwinism kicked in. Something like that.
Order for life to start. Some argue that the most important component of this trinity are the lipids, which make up the cell walls. Why would this be the most important? Because without
that's utter nonsense.
The wall or a way to encapsulate certain elements within the soup, it would just be a soup of material that would just be disorderly and floating around in a sea of liquid. It would not be.
That I don't see. So what? I don't see that as an issue. I don't see why it's important to have a cell wall. I don't see that as critical for the beginning of life. That doesn't make any sense.
Functioning inside something that could potentially self-replicate, but because these lipid membranes could potentially form around other elements.
No, that doesn't make any sense. The first self-replication was in the open seas, in these volcanic vents or something like that.
They could bring disparate parts of various chemicals together that could potentially interact, combine, react, and work together to perhaps eventually form a machinery for self-replication. So
That doesn't make any sense. That to me looks like a very late stage. Like in the beginning, you don't have a home. A home is something you get at a very late stage. This is complete. This is way too advanced. This is a very advanced stage in biogenesis.
So these fatty membranes composed of lipids were critical components for abiogenesis. So any study of abiogenesis should perhaps start with a closer examination of lipids. Lipid molecules have a unique structure. There's a round part and a long tail part. It so happens that the round part loves water.
It's great to talk about it, but it was not. I don't think it was in the critical path of abiogenesis.
Hydrophilic. The tail part, however, hates water. It's hydrophobic. So what tends to happen is when a bunch of lipids are floating around in water, they tend to gather together and self-assemble into spheres. Why does this happen? Because the tail parts of the molecule, since it wants to get away from water, automatically faces other tails that also dislike water. And the round part, which likes water, exposes itself to the water outside and inside the sphere. It is what these types of molecule do naturally. So it has a tendency to self-assemble into natural spheres. But where do lipids come from? It was once thought that they could only be produced by living cells. But experiments have shown that when carbon monoxide and hydrogen is heated up with minerals commonly found in Earth's crust, lipids can form. All components were available in the early Earth and could have happened in underwater hydrothermal vents. You might at this point say, aha, that's it. That's how the first cell must have formed. Not so fast. It turns out that while lipids do have this quality of self-assembly, when
the first cell never occurred. Cells evolved from some sort of self-replicating, probably RNA. I would say in the beginning there was RNA, and RNA started not self-replicating, but started replicating somehow. That was the first thing. And much, much, much later, we evolved to a protocell. There was never a first cell, obviously.
there are certain ions present, such as salt or magnesium, it destroys the lipid structure. They disintegrate. But the problem is that RNA and other functions of a cell require these ions. And since the early Earth was believed to have salty oceans, and since these spheres can't form in these salty oceans, this theory always had a gaping hole. However, just this year in 2019, researchers at the University of Washington showed that lipids disintegrate. But the problem is that RNA and other functions of a cell require these ions. And since the early Earth was believed to have salty oceans, and since these spheres can't form in these salty oceans, this theory always had a gaping hole.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you could have had, entire colonies of this replicating RNA near the volcanic outputs, whatever. So near these things, you get this goo. The goo is a colony of RNA, for example, and then the vents, I would say, protected. It creates a protection. It could easily create some protection. Some sort of protection could be created, and then the area becomes less salty. I mean, in the beginning, you just had RNA. RNA should be, I think, right. It survives in the cytoplasm. So why would RNA have a hard time surviving in the ocean? I don't see it. I don't see the issue.
However, just this year in 2019, researchers at the University of Washington showed that lipid spheres do not disassemble if they are in the presence of amino acids, which are precursors to protein molecules. In addition, the enclosing of amino acids within cell walls allows amino acids to concentrate within the walls and interact with each other to form proteins, which is part of the trinity, one of the essential components of life. What is remarkable about this research is that it turns out that non-living lipid cell walls and non-living proteins need each other to exist in an ion-rich or salty water. So now we see that lipids and proteins can potentially form in the presence of each other. What about DNA and RNA? These are the key self-replicating molecules, the blueprints of all living things. Today, genetic information is stored in DNA, and RNA is created from DNA to put that information into action.
You need to be able to create the cell wall, and it has to function together with the replication. That's way too complicated. You're overcomplicating it. You don't need to be so complicated. You start from a replicating RNA. That should be very straightforward.
RNA can direct the creation of proteins and perform other essential functions of life in a cell. The simplicity of RNA compared to its cousin, the DNA, is the reason that most people think RNA came first. This is part of the RNA world hypothesis, which theorizes that RNA, the molecule that today plays roles in expressing genes, was the essential precursor which led to the first living matter. Only later did its more complex cousin, DNA, take over the task of storing and replicating genetic information. This hypothesis has gained wide acceptance by scientists. So let's look at RNA. How did the first RNA molecule form from non-living chemicals? Well, the answer to this is not as clear-cut, and this has been a major stumbling block to any theory of abiogenesis. So here's what some of the latest research points to regarding RNA. RNA is made up of three chemical components: the sugar ribose, the bases, and phosphate. A ribose-base phosphate unit links together with other ribose-based phosphase units to form RNA polymer. Figuring out how a bond between the bases and ribose first formed has been difficult to replicate in the lab. Attempts to show how ribose bonds
Wait, let me see 1 second.
block to any theory of abiogenesis. So here's what some of the latest research points to regarding RNA. RNA is made up of 3 chemical components: the sugar ribose, the bases, and phosphate. A ribose-based phosphate.
Okay, what? The ribose phosphate backbone, the nucleobases, and the helix of sugar phosphates. So I don't see 3 parts. The ribose phosphate backbone is different than the helix of sugar phosphates? I don't get it.
Unit links together with other ribose-based phosphase units to form RNA polymer. Figuring out how a bond between the bases and ribose first formed has been difficult to replicate in the lab. Attempts to show how ribose bonds can form with the bases of RNA have been largely unsuccessful. This is because cells in our body require complex enzymes to bring RNA building blocks together before they combine to form polymers. But in a 2009 study, researchers at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, showed that current-day RNA could have formed on the surface of clays, which act like catalysts to bring RNA bases together, as shown in this animation. A 2017 paper by scientists from McMaster University in Canada and the Max Planck Institute in Germany showed that the building blocks of RNA could have polymerized in the early Earth using organic molecules from meteorites and interplanetary dust in shallow ponds. The wet-dry cycle of these ponds, they showed, are conducive to RNA polymerization. They also theorized that such polymers were probably present on Earth shortly after its formation, as early as 4.17.
So why do you need the lipids or the DNA? So you have RNA replicating on clay, and that's it. And Darwinism kicks in, and here we are. Why do you need and you don't need proteins, and you don't need DNA, and you don't need lipids? Why do you confuse the conversation?
7 billion years ago. So now we have ways that 2 of the Trinity could have formed, RNA and lipids.
You don't need lipids. You said already, RNA adheres to clay and self-assembles there, and that's it. If all you need now is for this to somehow for it to replicate. So an existing RNA strand needs to create the opposite strand, and then the opposite strand creates a copy of itself. These are anti-copies, right? An RNA strand creates an anti-copy of the RNA strand, anti-RNA, and the anti-RNA creates the first RNA, and then that's a copy. That's it. Darwinism kicks in, and here we are.
But what about proteins? How did they form? In the 1950s, several experiments by Stanley Miller and Harold Urey verified that the natural formation of amino acids, components of proteins, and other organic compounds out of organic materials was possible under the atmospheric conditions of the primordial Earth. So the precursors of proteins were...
You don't need it for the Beningin. The Beningin needs only one thing. You only need to get replication going. Just get replication going. Once you have replication, we will come along. You don't need anything else. Well, why are you like? Why do you need so much for life to begin? I no understand. I no understand this person. What LOL? What, I'm saying something funny? Para para bali pa pa para pam la pa para pam para bali la pa para pam la pa para bali la pa para pam bidi 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 para bam 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 bam. What?
We're likely...
What? You laugh me? You laugh me? You laugh me so much? You laugh me so much. Thank you, Amberger. Thank you. You are the best. You are the best. Bidi 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 bum. Anyway, by the way, this guy is Aryan. He's not Aryan. I'm sorry. He's Indian. Aryan is the actual Iranians. Hitler stole their identity. That guy was so crazy. He decided to just steal the identity of another nation. No one will ever know. No one will know. Let's just steal somebody else's name.
Present in the
and insignia. It's like, let's just steal it from the Hindus, whatever.
Very early Earth. It turns out that it's pretty easy to form many kinds of organic molecules in a wide range of environments. But so far, I've only presented ways that can result in potential precursors needed for life. You might say, well, that's fine and dandy, but having all the precursors get together inside a lipid cell wall does not necessarily...
Why do you need it? You already explained. Look at this. Look at this geek. He already explained that the RNA can replicate when it assembles on clay. Done. Roll the credits. Why are you doing this? What are you doing? You're making no sense. You already explained how life began. Roll the credits. What are you doing now? You're contradicting yourself.
Mean they will all.
He wants now to start life in this thing. What? And this is an enclosure. He wants to enclose some random protein with some random RNA, enclose it in some lipid proto enclosure, proto fatty bubble, and that's life. It's like, what? It doesn't do anything. The RNA, it's nothing. It's just some random RNA, some random protein that you put together in a capsule and you enclosed it. It's not gonna do anything. It's not even gonna die. It's not gonna do anything. That's not life. It looks like life, but it's not alive. There's no reason the RNA would suddenly replicate. There's no mechanism for replication.
Come together to form a self-replicating living cell.
What? What are you talking about?
But so far, I've only presented ways that can result in potential precursors needed for life. You might say, well, that's fine and dandy, but
it's not a precursor. It's nothing.
Having all the precursors get together inside a lipid cell wall does not necessarily mean they will all come together.
What do you mean necessarily? It's a dead end. You put them together in a dead end. Congratulations. You created a dead end to life. 1 second. 1 second. Message. Let's continue.
Form a self-replicating living cell. Having all the precursors get together inside a lipid cell wall does not necessarily mean they will all come together to form a self-replicating living cell. How do the complex molecules come together to self-replicate and become a living organism? And if I'm being honest, this is currently not well understood, and there's no experiment or smoking gun evidence right now.
You gave the answer. You gave the answer. You gave the answer, but you refused to roll the credits. Where's the answer?
Blocks of RNA could have polymerized, are conducive to RNA polymerization. The two of the trinity could form. Formation of amino acids.
No.
On Earth shortly after its formation, as early as 4.17 billion years ago. So now we have ways that also theorize that such polymers were probably present in shallow ponds. The wet-dry cycle of these ponds, they showed, are conducive to the Earth using organic molecules by scientists from McMaster University could have formed on the surface of clays.
At this point, you just need to roll the credits. This is the answer. RNA nucleotides may have polymerized into polymers with help of clay particles. You're welcome. Roll the credits. Why do you need anything else? Why are these people who are obviously so smart, why are they so dumb?
But in the 2009 study, researchers at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, showed that current-day RNA could have formed on the surface of clays, which act like catalysts to bring RNA bases together, as shown in this animation. The
2017 What else do you need?
Paper by scientists from McMaster University.
So they got together, and once a strand of RNA was created in such a way that it resembles the proto-RNA. And a proto-RNA creates an anti-RNA. And an anti-RNA creates an RNA. Roll the credits. It's done. You explained it. You don't need proteins. You don't need lipids. You don't need anything else. Why? I don't have anyone to yell at. I don't have anyone to yell at. This is impossible. I mean, why are they so confused? What is so confusing? Well, I don't know. I don't know why they're so confused. You gave the answer.
University in Canada and the Max Planck Institute in Germany showed that the building blocks of RNA could have polymerized in the early Earth using organic molecules from meteorites and interplanetary dust in shallow ponds.
RNA could have polymerized. I think it means become a strand using organic molecules from meteorites. Then roll the credits.
The wet-dry cycle of these ponds, they showed, are conducive to RNA polymerization. They also theorize
Then roll the credits.
that such polymers were probably present on Earth.
RNA molecules probably formed on Earth as far back as 4.17 billion years ago. Then roll the credits. Roll the credits. RNA molecules. What else do you need? What else do you need? That's basically us. So we were already available to replicate 4.17 billion years ago. Roll the credits already.
Shortly after its formation, as early as 4.17 billion years ago. So now we have ways that two of the Trinity could have formed: RNA.
Don't need the lipids. You just need the RNA. Roll the credits.
Lipids. But what about proteins? How did they form? In the 1950s, several
You don't need proteins in the beginning.
experiments by Stanley Miller and Harold Urey verified that the natural formation of amino acids, components of proteins, and other organic compounds out of organic materials was possible under the atmospheric conditions of the primordial Earth. So the precursors of proteins were likely present in the very early Earth. It turns out that it's pretty easy to form many kinds of organic molecules in a wide range of environments. But so far, I've only presented ways that can result in potential precursors needed for life. You might say, well, that's fine and dandy, but having all the precursors get together inside a lipid cell wall does not necessarily mean they will all come together to form a self-replicating living cell. How do the complex molecules come together to self-replicate and become a living organism? And if I'm being honest, this is currently not well understood. And there's no...
Because you already explained everything. Now everything you said, now let's go step by step. And you'll see that you already explained exactly how we got here. What do you mean it's not well understood? You explained everything. What's not well understood? So in the beginning, there was clay. And there was nucleotides. And they polymerized on clay, especially with the dry wet cycles. So you got longer and longer polymers, RNAs, and you already found RNAs for 4.17 billion years ago. Basically, from the beginning. Wait, what just happened? So we already had RNA. So RNA, as far as I know, when you have RNA, give it enough time, you'll create the anti-RNA. Just give it enough time, it will create the anti-RNA, the RNA complete. And the anti-RNA, RNA complete, in time will create the original RNA. That's replication. And that's without any help, with nothing. That's replication. So now all you need is competition. You need a demographic pressure. So there's going to be mutations. Some of them are going to do it better and kill off the others. And then there's going to be further mutations. And so they're going to do it better and better and better and better and better and better. And here we are. You're welcome. Roll the credits. That's all you need. You could now, at one point, you could say, oh, and then they also started slowly, they started using different kind of proteins that were available. They started interacting with the proteins. I don't know how they would interact with the proteins. I need to think about it. How would they? Like, I guess one day, all you need is help with the replication. One day, a certain protein was helping with the replication. It just a little bit helped with the replication of the RNA. Just a little bit. But guess what? Now, this RNA is going to win in the competition. It's going to kill off. Right? This mutation gave it an advantage that it's able to use this protein. Now it took over. And now this guy that knows how to use this protein, so it needs more of this protein. And one day, it needs to. It's not going to just create the protein. That's not likely. So that sounds like a dead end. I don't know. Anyway, but it's a good question. At this point, I would have to sit and think about it. I never really thought enough about this. But this is like a puzzle that needs to be solved. It's not infinitely difficult. It's finitely difficult. So just somebody needs to sit and think about it. And obviously, the people in the universities, unfortunately, couldn't find their assholes with both hands. Unfortunately for us.
No experiment or smoking gun evidence right now that points to a precise mechanism of how this could have happened. There are creationist arguments such as the one that says, if I put all the parts of a watch in a big vat and keep stirring it for a million years, a functioning ticking watch is not going to magically form inside the vat. And some cite an estimate by scientists Fred Hoyle and Chandra Wickramasinghe showing that the probability of all the chemicals in a simple bacterium arising on their own by chance is something on the order of 1 in 10 to the 40,000th power.
A bacterium is a very advanced life form. It's basically a city compared to, the first replicating molecule.
Which is more than the Planck volume of the entire universe. So that is a virtual impossibility. But this number and the clock parts in a vat argument are oversimplifications. They ignore the fact that sophisticated life forms like current day bacteria almost certainly did not arise spontaneously, but arose in much simpler incremental steps that had a much higher chance of occurring. There are stats such as the one that says the odds of creating a protein molecule by chance is 1 in 10 to the 45 power. Odds such as these and others not only ignore the idea of simpler precursors, but also ignore the fact that it was not just one set of amino acids at one place at one time, but it was trillions upon trillions of amino acids reacting in countless places over millions of years that resulted in simple protein molecules. There are about 4 times 10 to the 47 molecules of water in Earth's oceans. Even if there was one amino acid among 1 million water molecules, that would be 10 to the 41 molecules of amino acids that had the opportunity to interact with each other and to form proteins in numerous environments, in numerous places, and in numerous trials over millions of years to produce proteins. The actual probability is not how the hundreds of complex chemicals can come together to form a modern-day bacterium, but the probability of a few chemicals, maybe 10 or 20, forming and coming together to form the precursors of life that can chemically evolve over time to form the simplest kind of life form that likely look nothing like any evolved life form we recognize today. But showing how even this chemical evolution could have happened is problematic. Chemical evolution
It could be happening right now, everywhere, all over the world, but we wouldn't notice it. It's too small for our devices to notice. I don't see how we could ever notice a new life form that is similar to the very first replicating molecule. How would you find it? You can't see it in a microscope. You have to see it in an electron microscope. I don't know. I mean, it could be happening right now, but the fish would eat it. Other life, I mean, even not the fish, I mean, other bacterium would eat it. So it could be happening and we wouldn't know. Could be happening all the time. It could be happening inside my body right now, and no one. I don't know how would we tell? How can we tell? It's really small. I don't know.
is not the same as biological evolution, which is driven by favoring organisms that have the best chance of survival and reproduction.
It's exactly the same.
It's problematic. Chemical evolution is not the same as biological.
It's
any evolved life form we recognize today. But showing how even this chemical evolution could have happened is problematic. Chemical evolution is not the same as biological evolution.
It's identical. Not only is it the same, it is not. It is identical. Though it's driven by exactly the same processes. Exactly the same process. I don't know why you would say that.
Which is driven by favoring organisms that have the best chance of survival. And
there's no difference. Favoring organisms and favoring molecules and no difference.
Production. Scientists have had trouble figuring out what could have driven chemicals to evolve, the complexity needed for biological functioning. But in 2014, Jeremy England, physics professor at MIT, showed
replication, self-replication.
Mathematically that the driving force for chemical evolution may be hidden in physics, in Newton's second law of thermodynamics. That's our old friend entropy. From a physics point of view, the one thing that distinguishes living things from non-living.
In Newton's second law, Newton had a second law of thermodynamics? What did you say?
Hidden in physics, in Newton's second law of thermodynamics. That's our old friend entropy.
Newton's second law of thermodynamics? What? What?
He showed mathematically that the driving force for chemical evolution may be hidden in physics, in Newton's second law of thermodynamics.
What? What? 1146. How many comments? 20,000 comments. Okay. What time we said? We said 1146. I don't think Newton knew what thermodynamics was. No one. Yeah, his audience is very childish. He attracts very childish people. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm tired. I'm tired, Trinity. I'm tired, Trinity. Dibby 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 dum. Dibby 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 dum.
Dynamics. That's our old friend entropy. From a physics point of view, the one thing that distinguishes living things from non-living things is its ability to capture energy and convert it to heat. England argues that when exposed to an external source of energy, such as the sun, any group of molecules will restructure themselves to dissipate more and more energy. This, he says, is the driving force for chemical evolution, and this can, over time, result in living organisms such as those we see today. Organisms that are super efficient at dissipating energy. This theory is further supported by a 2011 paper by Carol McCallion that showed that RNA and DNA are the most efficient of all known molecules for absorbing the intense ultraviolet light of the sun. While there's no single generally accepted theory of the origin of life, all credible proposals show that life under natural conditions, by a slow process of chemical and molecular evolution, could have plausibly resulted in simple life forms over a long period of time. And that this evolution of chemistry was probably the biggest hill to climb for life to have occurred on Earth. But once this happened, biological evolution took over and relatively quickly resulted in exceptional
Anyway, this is complete nonsense, this thing with thermodynamics. I don't see how that's relevant. I mean, you had self-replicating a replication process, and then you had a demographic pressure, and you had selection. And that's it. That's all you need. A replication with selection. That's full power. That's Darwinism in high gear. And then and then here we are.
Diversity of life forms. We see that in the fossil record of early Earth, and of course, we see that on Earth today. Do we have proof that this is how life came about? No, at least not yet. Is it plausible? Absolutely. Just like chemical and biological evolution, our knowledge too is evolving in a slow process over hundreds and thousands of years, driven by the pursuit of science and hopefully ever decreasing ignorance. Hey guys, this video is sponsored by the newly released sci-fi novel New Eden by Kishore Kripalani. New Eden is a mind-boggling story of quantum entanglement and the origins of life. Follow physicist Joshua Andrews and journalist Rachel Miller as they discover that entangled particles were created at the moment of the Big Bang, creating a universe-wide communication network. So if you love sci-fi based on some real science, I highly recommend New Eden. It's available now from Amazon. The link is in the description below. And if you want to support us and see more videos like this, then please subscribe, ring the bell icon,
entanglement,
and give us a like, or support us on Patreon. I'll see you in the next video.
I see you in that video. My fact. My fact. What is this? Oh, I don't know. That's actually something I'm looking forward to hear.
Attention all Starship fans. Get ready for Starship's Flight 6 and another booster catch, because SpaceX has now announced that they are targeting Monday, November 18th for the 6th flight of Starship. As many of you remember and probably have rewatched this video over and over like I have, some of you were fortunate enough to be there in person, but October 13th was the last launch. So this would mean that SpaceX would launch in just a little over a month, which is great because we want them to ramp up their cadence, and it looks like they're doing just that. In fact, SpaceX seems so sure of themselves, and it honestly caught me by surprise. I was in Paris and I thought for sure, because the FAA said that SpaceX wouldn't get their launch license until late November, that we wouldn't have a launch yet, but they got their launch license, and sure enough, less than 24 hours later, we saw that amazing booster catch in the Mechazilla arms. So SpaceX is ready to go, and they're not messing around. I think it's safe to say if they're announcing this now, then it's very likely that it'll be on Monday, November 18th, which is so dang exciting. I have been waiting to hear when the next flight will be, because I am still so bummed that I missed that booster catch in person. But hey, this next one, I will be there and I will provide you coverage. Now, the rumors have been spreading that Starship Flight 6 could occur as soon as November 18th because of no TAMs posted. This is a notice to airmen. However, we now have confirmation from SpaceX, which is why I felt compelled to get this video out as soon as possible. SpaceX posted on X, Starship's 5th flight test was a seminal moment in iterating towards a fully and rapidly reusable launch system. Next up, the 6th flight test of Starship is targeted to launch as early as Monday, November 18th. And they also shared this amazing highlight reel from Flight 5, which you are watching right now. So what do we know about this next flight? Well, according to a press release from SpaceX, a live webcast of the flight test will begin about 30 minutes before liftoff, which you can watch on X and on SpaceX's website. The 30-minute launch window will open at 4 p.m. Central Time, which is interesting because I'm used to getting up so freaking early for these launches, and this one is later in the day. SpaceX writes that their 5th flight test was a seminal moment in iterating towards a fully and rapidly reusable launch system. On the first attempt, the Super Heavy booster successfully returned to the launch site and was caught by the chopstick arms of the launch and catch tower at Starbase. Starship's upper stage went on to demonstrate several improvements, resulting in a controlled entry and high accuracy splashdown at the targeted area in the Indian Ocean. The next Starship flight test aims to expand the envelope on ship and booster capabilities and get closer to bringing reuse of the entire system online. Starship's upper stage went on to demonstrate several improvements, resulting in a controlled entry and high accuracy splashdown at the targeted area in the Indian Ocean. The next Starship flight test aims to expand the envelope on ship and booster capabilities and get closer to bringing reuse of at the targeted area in the Indian Ocean. The next Starship flight test aims to expand the envelope on ship and booster capabilities.
The what?
And high accuracy splashdown at the targeted area in the Indian Ocean. The next Starship flight test aims to expand the envelope on ship and booster capabilities and get closer to bringing
the envelope on ship and booster capabilities. Oh, Okay, the envelope. They're going to extend the envelope on ship and booster capabilities. They're going to do more things, okay?
Reuse of the entire system online. Objectives include the booster once again returning to the launch site for catch, reigniting a ship Raptor engine while in space, and testing a suite of heat shield experiments and maneuvering changes for ship reentry and descent over the Indian Ocean. This flight will also have hardware upgrades for additional redundancy to the booster propulsion systems. It will increase structural strength at key areas and shorten the timeline to offload propellants from the booster following a successful catch. Mission designers also updated software controls and commit criteria for the booster's launch and return. Just like in Flight 5, distinct vehicle and pad criteria must be met prior to a return and catch of the Super Heavy booster, which will require healthy systems on the booster and power and a final manual command from the mission's flight director. If this command is not sent prior to the completion of the boost back burn, or if automated health checks show unacceptable conditions with Super Heavy or the tower, the booster will default to a trajectory that takes it to a landing burn and soft splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico. We accept no compromises when it comes to ensuring the safety of the public and our team, and the return will only take place if conditions are right. The returning booster will slow down from supersonic speeds, resulting in audible sonic booms in the area around the landing zone. Generally, the only impact to those in the surrounding area of a sonic boom is a brief thunder-like noise with variables like weather and distance from the return site, determining the magnitude experienced by observers. Starship's upper stage will fly the same suborbital trajectory as the previous flight test, with splashdown targeted in the Indian Ocean. An additional objective for this flight will be attempting an in-space burn using a single Raptor engine, further demonstrating the capabilities required to conduct a ship deorbit burn prior to orbital missions. Several thermal protection experience and operational changes will test the limits of Starship's capabilities and generate flight data to inform plans for ship catch and reuse. This flight test will assess new secondary thermal protection materials and will have entire sections of heat shield tiles removed on either side of the ship in locations being studied for catch-enabling hardware on future vehicles. The ship will also intentionally fly at a higher angle of attack in the final phase of descent, purposely stressing the limits of flap control to gain data on future landing profiles. And finally, and this is a question that I had that just got answered, adjusting the flight's launch window to the late afternoon at Starbase will enable the ship to re-enter over the Indian Ocean in daylight, providing better conditions for visual observations. So there we have it. And that means I won't be running on caffeine and adrenaline. Well, I'll still have probably both of those, but I won't be as miserable getting up at 5 a.m. Now, SpaceX goes on. Future ships, starting with the vehicle plan for the 7th flight test, will fly with significant upgrades, including redesigned forward flaps, larger propellant tanks, and the latest generation tiles and secondary thermal protection layers as we continue to iterate towards a fully reusable heat shield. Learnings from this and subsequent flight tests will continue to make the entire Starship system more reliable as we close in on full and rapid reusability. So, with all of that being said, I'm very excited to be at Flight 6, and there is still time to order your new design of the Mechazilla shirt that I've sold in the past. On this design, you see the flame and...
Wow, she's able to jump. She broke her femur. No less. Jesus Christ.
And I just think it's a better design, and I hope that you guys like it.
She's so hot.
So if you want to support my channel, you can order these shirts for a limited time and celebrate what SpaceX is doing. Now, side note, of course, I am recording this video today, the day after the presidential election, and we know that President Trump will be back in the White House. Now, I try to remain very apolitical as a journalist. I have learned not to share my political opinion, and I will continue to do that. However, I did want to read this post from Eric Berger because I think it is relevant. He writes, "It is too early to fully assess space policy impacts of a Trump win. NASA was prominent in the first administration, and with Musk involved, it will be even bigger this time. Expect changes to Artemis and a renewed emphasis on Mars." So I think going forward, it will be really interesting to see how a Trump administration, especially from so much support from Elon Musk, will impact SpaceX and their ambitions. That's all I'll say about that, but it will be interesting to see if we have changes to Artemis, and you guys in the comments can discuss your opinions on this. Some people are even asking if Jim Bridenstine will become administrator of NASA again. Jim recently stepped down from the Mars sample return program, and so many people are asking what's next for him in NASA. Of course, Trump will also have to make the offer. But Eric, who is very in the know with the space industry, says he would bet against Jim coming back to NASA. So what do you guys think will happen? Do you
Shut down NASA. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. That's it. NASA was created just to land on the moon. Done. Shut it down. Roll the credits.
think that SLS will get canceled? Do you think that perhaps SpaceX will...
Of course, cancel SLS. Of course. It's such a complete waste of money. Like, if you ever needed a perfect waste of money, that's the SLS. And NASA altogether is a complete waste of money.
Will be solely taking us back to the moon. There are a lot of questions, but now the election is over, and I think for many of us, that brings us peace, knowing who is going to be the next president of the United States. As always, I want to focus on...
We have universities. We have the military. If the military needs something, a moon base, a Mars base, whatever, it's military. If we need one, otherwise, let Elon Musk conquer the moon, build another Hubble, another Space Weber, whatever. It should all be private. It should be privatized. There's no reason the government should be involved. NASA is the post office in space. We don't need the post office in space.
On space and what's going on in the space world. And if there's one thing that can unite us, it's this beautiful moment of the booster being caught by the Mechazilla. So
Yeah,
I'm going to focus on what's going on with space, and I hope that you'll join me and continue to watch my coverage. Save the date, tune in, because we're going to see that giant booster be caught again. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
The F-15. The F-15EX, the new kid on the block that is literally. The F-15EX, the new kid on the block that is literally crushing it, and everybody's talking about it. If you haven't heard about it, where have you been? Second of all, you're going to know all about it after this video, and we're going to talk about why is this thing so good? Why is the Air Force choosing this thing after so many decades, the F-15 being in service? I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. So why is the F-15EX being chosen over making more F-35s or more F-22s? That's a great question. So in this video, we're going to dive into the specifics of most likely why the F-15EX is being chosen and what it would actually do in combat scenarios. I mean, if we need F-35s and F-22s for stealth, why are we building a 4.5 generation aircraft that can be walloped on by S-400s from Russia that can supposedly detect this thing from over 200 miles away? We're going to get into all that and more. First, we got to talk about the F-15C, basically the cooler oldest brother of the F-15 family. The F-15C and the F-15E combined have a 104-0 win-to-loss ratio, and that's just insane. If you think about aerial combat throughout time, the F-15 is essentially the king of the sky. Not only that, but an F-15E actually shot down a helicopter with a laser-guided bomb. That's how good the F-15 is. It's like, I need a challenge. These AMRAAMs, these air A9Xs.
With a bomb.
Need something better. Let's try a laser-guided bomb. The F-15C was built essentially to combat the MiG-25, vice versa. They're both built to kind of fight each other. Potentially the MiG-31 as well. MiG-31 was more of an interceptor that supposedly was used to try to chase down the SR-71. We'll get more to that in another video. But the big advantage that the F-15 has is that it's stood the test of time throughout decades. While these Soviet aircraft like 25 and the 31 have kind of fallen off and no one really knows even if they're still flying much or at all, the F-15 is turning and burning on the daily. And the fact that this thing is getting so many air-to-air kills with a perfect record just shows why the F-15EX is holding so much weight with generals and defense contractors, why this thing is just being churned out like hotcakes on the assembly line, and partner nations all across the globe are trying to get this thing in their hands as fast as they possibly can. It was originally built by McDonnell Douglas, which was acquired by Boeing. Something that Boeing's done extremely well, let's give Boeing some good press, right, is the fact that they've kept this line open for so long, and they've made the F-15E/EX very appealing to partner nations, which have allowed us to keep the assembly line open, which means you're going to get more adaptations. The avionics are going to be better suited for the current time. And let me tell you what, there's nothing better than flying a fighter jet that is actually suited for the time you're flying it in. Imagine that. So why wouldn't they just build more F-35s or more F-22s? Well, let's talk first about cost structure. When it comes to the F-22, you're looking at about $150 million per copy. And when you add in development costs, other costs that go into the design and creating the entire F-22 line, you're looking at about $330 million. So the fact that the F-15EX line is already open, you're kind of just paying per copy on that, which is somewhere around 70 to 80 million. Just a cool 70 to 80 million. But compare that over a lot of different squadrons that are being created. Let's say you're comparing structure. When it comes to the F-22, you're looking at about 100 flying so long, and they've made the F-15E/EX very appealing to partner nations, which have allowed us to keep the assembly line open, which means you're going to get more adaptations. The avionics are going to be better suited for the current time. And let me tell you,
Okay, I need to be there. It's now 10 to. One second. So 50. Let me see. It's 10 to. So okay. Let me ask Siri to remind me. How much time? How much time? I need to leave. Yeah, in 20 minutes. Okay. All right. Wait. What's going on?
tell you what, there's nothing better than flying a fighter
Why
jet.
would they keep producing it? I mean, why not produce F-35s? I don't get it.
That is actually suited for the time you're flying it in. Imagine that. So why would they just build more F-35s or more F-22s? Well, let's talk first about cost structure. When it comes to the F-22, you're looking at about $150 million per copy. And when you add in development costs, other costs that go into the design and creating the entire F-22 line, you're looking at about $330 million. So the fact that
That doesn't make any sense. You don't consider the overhead when you're ordering more F-35s over F-15s. So it's $150 per copy for F-35, and how much is it for F-15?
or more F-22s. Well, let's talk first about cost structure. When it comes to the F-22, you're looking at about $150 million per copy. And when you add in development costs, other costs that go into the design and creating the...
What are you talking about? Design is behind us.
entire F-22 line, you're looking at about $330 million. And when you add in development costs, other costs that go into the design and creating the entire F-22 line, you're looking at about.
Who says F-22? We're talking about F-35. What are you talking about? Why is everybody so crazy?
Imagine that. So why would they just build more F-35s or more F-22s? Well, let's talk first about.
Wait. Who's talking about F-22? F-22? What are you talking about? Wow. F-22 debate is over. F-22, we know the answer. The production was cannibalized by the F-35. There's no production lines. You would have to rebuild everything from scratch.
Cost structure. When it comes to the F-22, you're looking at about $150 million per copy. And when you add in development costs, other costs that go into the design and creating the entire F-22 line, you're looking at about $330 million. So the fact that the F-15EX line is already open.
$330 million per copy. Okay.
You're kind of just paying per copy on that, which is somewhere around 70 to 80 million. Just a cool 70 to 80 million. But compare that.
Yeah. So it's about 4 times. So F-15 times 4 is F-22.
Over a lot of different squadrons that are being created. Let's say you're comparing that to 50 to 100 aircraft, which right now the F-15EX is slated to have about 104. Weird, huh? 104 wins, let's make 104 of these. I like your style. But the fact that the cost benefits are so strong just makes this another high up contender to build. A lot of different squadrons that are being created. Let's say you're comparing that to 50 to 100 aircraft, which right now the F-15EX is slated to have about 104. Weird, huh? 104 wins, let's make 104 of these. I like your style. But the fact that the cost benefits are so strong just makes this
So they ordered 104 new F-15s.
Another high up contender to build even more. I wouldn't be surprised if we see dozens, maybe hundreds more of these being produced, especially as we get into the specific missions that the F-15EX is going to be tasked with, which we'll get to those in a second. When it comes to the F-35, there's been about 1,000 F-35s created so far. Their price per copy is somewhere between 80 to 100 million, depending on where you're looking. So maybe they're a little more expensive. But the fact that you have a stealth aircraft where you might not need it is, again, why the F-15EX is just such a contender in this air battle space. And also when it comes to the weapons that the F-15EX can carry.
Oh, the carrying capacity. But I don't think, you can always load the F-35 with external weapons.
You're going to be shocked by this one. Boeing claims this thing can carry 12 AMRAAMs. You compare that to the F-35, which is carrying somewhere at a max of probably 4 to 6, depending on what else it's carrying. You're limited by the fact contender in this air battle space. And also when it comes to the weapons that the F-15EX can carry, you're going to be shocked by this one. Boeing claims this thing can carry 12 AMRAAMs. You compare that to the F-35, which is carrying somewhere at a max of probably 4 to 6, depending on what else it's carrying. You're limited by the fact that you have to put AMRAAMs in stealth bays of the F-35.
You don't have to. You can use it. You can use the F-35 in non-stealth mode.
Comes to the F-15EX, you don't have that limitation. So you're so much more versatile if you're flying an F-15EX. And if you're operating in an area where you don't have S-400s, which again can detect the F-15EX at 200 miles, then you don't really need the stealth capability. You'd be better suited to have more weapons so that you can take it to the enemy even harder. And that gets me to what I think the F-15EX is going to be used for. So instead of putting this thing in the theater where the S-400 can reach out and tap it at 200 miles, that just wouldn't be cool. EX at 200 miles, then you don't really need the stealth capability. You'd be better suited to have more weapons phase of the F-35. When it comes to the F-15EX, you don't have that limitation. So you're so much more versatile if you're flying an F-15EX. And if you're operating in an area where you don't have S-400s, which again can detect the F-15EX at 200 miles, then you don't really need the stealth capability. You'd be better suited to have more weapons so that you can take it to the enemy even harder. And that gets me to what I think the F-15EX is going to be used for. So instead of putting this thing in the theater where the S-400 can reach out and tap it at 200 miles, that just wouldn't be cool at all. You're going to then you don't really need the stealth capability. You'd be better suited to have more weapons so that you can take it to the enemy even harder. And that gets me to what I think the F-15EX is going to be used for. So instead of putting this thing in the theater where the S-400 can reach out and tap it at 200 miles.
In the theater? Did he say theater? What? Let me hear this in slow motion.
Miles. Instead of putting this thing in the theater where the S-400 can reach out and tap it at 200 miles, that just wouldn't be cool at all. You're going to put this thing in theaters where that's not a factor at all. So it's going to go up against the...
That's not the answer. The answer is the F-35s go in and destroy the S-400s or whatever anti-aircraft artilleries they have. So first you send in the F-35s. The F-35s go in for just to destroy the defenses, the air defenses. That's your first line of attack. After them, you no longer need to be stealth. So a couple of minutes later, the F-15s show up, and they don't care at this point because the defenses are down. And then they attack. So you need to just keep a ratio of stealth to non-stealth. You don't need everything to be stealth. The first line of attack, it's preferable to be stealth.
Houthi rebels. It's going to be in the Middle East shooting down Iranian drones. Think about a squadron of these things. You've got 12.
Iranian drones, you have S-400s to deal with. So the first thing Israel did is they destroyed the Iranians' defenses, probably using the F-35s, and later probably the F-15s and the F-16s and whatever else. Maybe Israel is still using F-4s, or maybe even, probably also Skyhawks. I mean, I think Israel is using everything since the beginning of time. Then everything else comes in and just drops the bombs. You don't need to be stealth at that point.
15 of them loaded down with 12 AMRAAMs each, and they're up there just playing whack-a-mole with these drones. I mean, it's a perfect platform for something like that. Or going up against an Air Force that doesn't have the S-400. Again, the F-15EX is going to be perfectly suited for that as well. So when it comes down to operations, this could also be used in an environment with an S-400. Hear me out. So you could put this thing on the leading edge of a massive wave of aircraft, have 15 fighters behind it, get the F-15EX to
He's going to explain to you just what I just explained.
basically unload its missiles, being the missile truck that it is, and this thing can just split us out of there, give a nice salute, and get out of there before they're in range of any surface air missiles. And then you can go.
Maybe not.
Yeah, so you can put this thing on the leading edge of a massive wave of aircraft, have 15 fighters behind it, get the F-15EX to basically unload its missiles, being the missile truck that it is, and this thing can just split us out of there, give a nice salute, and get out of there before they're in range of any surface air missiles. And then you can go clean up with the 5th generation fighters that are going to be behind it. And then let's talk about the F-15EX.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Ability to do
He inverted the attack. The first is the 5th generation, then the 4.5 generation.
So this thing's going to roll off the assembly line only in 2C configurations. That's the only assembly line that's open right now, and that's what all the partner nations have been ordering. So now you've got the ability for the F-15EX to slay it in an air-to-air roll, and then also to dominate in an air-to-ground roll. And I can speak from experience, having a great Wizzo behind you as you're looking through that soda straw, that sniper pod that's looking at license plates from 10 nautical miles, and now there's even better adaptations of that. Having someone who can just hone in and focus on that gives the front seater the ability to look out front with the radar and with their eyeballs, detect threats, fly around 20,000-foot mountains, or whatever the case may be. And to me, it's just a force multiplier. Now, don't get me.
No, it could be that the new F-15s are going to have the most advanced avionics, which means complete integration, which is one of the biggest advantages. I mean, they could have a multitude of advantages, and maybe even a little bit of stealth. I don't see any stealthiness, but fine. So no stealthiness, but still, they could have every advanced avionic feature that the F-35 has.
Wrong. Throughout time, there's been the rivalry between fighter jets that have one person and fighter jets that have two people. So I'm sure in the comments I'm going to hear which one is better, and that's the way it should be. So when it comes to the advantages that Boeing's really touting for the F-15EX, they're really doubling down on versatility, maneuverability, and the fact that this thing can carry so much armament. When it comes to the F-35, you're looking at about 22,000 pounds of armament between air-to-ground and air-to-air weapons and gas. When it comes to the EX, you're looking at a staggering 29,000 pounds, and the ability for this thing to possibly go higher and faster. Just the fact that this thing can carry so much armament. When it comes to the F-35, you're looking at about 22,000 pounds.
22.
Of armament between air-to-ground and air-to-air weapons and gas. When it comes to the EX, you're looking at a staggering 29,000 pounds.
29. That's not a big difference.
And the ability for this thing to possibly go higher and faster just due to the versatility that it has.
Yeah, higher and faster. I mean, in air-to-air, F-15 is much better than the F-35, but there's no more air-to-air.
Is an advantage that I think is going to make lots more F-15EXs show up in the battle space. Boeing's also touting next-gen survivability, and they're hinting at the fact that the F-15EX is going to carry a lot of standoff weapons. If you minimize stealth, you have to extend the range of your weapon. So Boeing's basically saying, hey, buy the EX and they'll throw in some nice hypersonic weapons for free plus $20 billion. And then the modern software infrastructure, in my opinion, is the biggest advantage of the EX.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. The software advantage, the integration, the integrated battlefield.
They can plug and play, plug in new avionics as new technology is developed, just makes the EX such a contender because you can create squadrons that literally come off the line a year after another squadron that have updated avionics. They can test it really quick, put that in the older squadrons, and it just gives the ability to plug and play on a level that's probably never been seen before in fighter aviation. And then the fact that this thing's flown by so many U.S. allies is just another feather in the cap for Boeing to say, look, everybody's buying this thing. Everybody's doing it. The U.S. should buy more. That's why I think it's going to make a lot more of these show up. And then those partner nations are going to be Japan, Israel, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, possibly Turkey. The UAE is definitely a strong component of this, and it's rumored that Qatar is going to get in on it as well. So this is just going to continue to grow, and it's going to take on a version of how the F-35 has extended into NATO. This jet's going to extend into countries that aren't necessarily NATO, but are very close allies to the United States, and I think that's just going to create more growth for the EX. Again, the relevancy of it is going to help with interoperability when large force exercises take place around the world. That crosstalk is going to be huge. The fact that the US is going to be flying the same platform now as these advanced F-15Es, the F-15I, the F-15EXs around the globe, it's just another huge win for the F-15, the king of the sky, the king of air supremacy. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Please click on another video that'll pop up over here. That'll be the best compliment you can give me. I'll see you on that video. You also pop over to maxafterburner.co if you'd like to grab some threads and support the channel. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next video. Most of all, have a great day.
What else?
Hello, everyone.
Ultimate Guide to Mastering Mathematics.
Hello, everyone. How do I learn mathematics? This is the topic of today's video. Welcome to Math Topics.
I am Defense Updates was started on 23rd Jan 2015 to provide updates on military strategies, weapon systems, as well as to present.
Tonight.
Hey guys, it's Sikena here. Long time.
Today's video is brought to you by War Thunder. Today's video is brought to you by War Thunder. Could the U.S. Navy outpace the Air Force in developing the next generation of fighter jets? While everyone assumed the Air Force had the lead in the race for 6th generation fighters.
That's not a good design. It's pretty good. It's pretty amazing, but this angle, it's not a good idea to have this angle here. You want to, the angle is too high. I would try to lower it. Also, this very high angle, you need to lower it. From the side, it's going to be visible. This is very high.
There's a surprising twist. The Navy might be speeding ahead, while the Air Force may be pumping the brakes. But why? In this video, we're going to explore.
Is this what it's going to, I don't think it's what it's going to look like.
3 key questions.
This is the NGAD.
How did the Air Force, with its ambitious next
They said that's what it's going to look like?
generation air dominance or NGAD program, end up hitting major roadblocks? After all, they were the ones who kickstarted the race, promising revolutionary advances in stealth, speed, range, and survivability. But
what was that? What was that beep?
How did the Air Force, with its ambitious next generation air dominance or NGAD program, end up hitting major roadblocks? After all, they were the ones who kickstarted the race, promising revolutionary advances in stealth, speed,
Oh, that was the bell. Okay.
range, and survivability. But now they're facing an enemy that's proving difficult to beat, and some say is undefeated. Meanwhile, the Navy's FAXX program, which many thought was dead in the water, is suddenly gaining serious momentum. What exactly revived this program, and how could it overtake the Air Force's plans? And finally, what if the future of air combat doesn't even involve traditional fighters? There's a real possibility that the Air Force might not need a new fighter at all. Could drones, advanced missile systems, or other technology be the real future? Stick around and find out.
PilotPhotog.com.
Let's start by breaking down how the Air Force's NGAD, a project that is so ambitious if it can deliver on all its promises, will make today's F-22 Raptor look like a Cessna 172. The Air Force's next-generation air dominance program was designed to be the ultimate air superiority platform and is intended to serve throughout the remainder of the 21st century. The NGAD's design goals include many cutting-edge advancements, including highly advanced sensors, powerful new engines, and the ability to work seamlessly with unmanned drones. The NGAD is set to revolutionize aerial warfare, but as the program has moved forward, it's now facing a nearly undefeated and timeless enemy: money. The cost estimates for each NGAD aircraft have soared to an eye-watering $200 to $300 million per plane. This steep price tag has become a major obstacle, especially given the ever-tightening U.S. defense budget. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall has acknowledged these financial challenges and, as a result, has hit pause on the program. Kendall has stated that the NGAD's current costs may simply be too high, and the Air Force needs to reevaluate before proceeding. A review has been ordered, which should wrap up in the next coming months. The findings of this review will be crucial in determining whether the NGAD continues as originally planned or undergoes significant modifications. Knowing these budget concerns, one of the biggest issues the Air Force now faces is how to balance cost with capability. Lowering the aircraft's price could mean cutting back on some of the very features that make it revolutionary, such as its range and payload capacity. For example, one cost-cutting proposal involves moving from a twin-engine design to a single-engine model and a smaller airframe. While these changes could reduce expenses, it would also limit the aircraft's ability to fly long distances without frequent refueling, a critical factor given the global nature of the Air Force's mission. At this point in the video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, War Thunder, the most comprehensive, whether you're into fast 70 million. So play War Thunder for free. We'll also receive a massive bonus pack of days of premium account vast distances, often only so act now. In a future conflict, such as one in the Pacific, the Air Force would need to operate over vast distances, often without nearby refueling bases. To address this challenge, the Air Force has proposed the development of a new air refueling system called the Next Generation Air Refueling System, or NGAS, a stealthy tanker designed to support NGAD missions. However, this only adds another layer of complexity and more cost to an already expensive project. Still, you could make the argument that NGAS would benefit not just the NGAD fighter, but many other Air Force and Navy aircraft, as the current tanker fleet is getting rather long in the tooth. On top of all this, the Air Force is also developing a 6th generation bomber, better known as the V-21 Raider. Like the NGAD, the Raider is extremely ambitious and expensive, but it's already flying with several prototypes built. More on the Raider in a moment. Ultimately, the Air Force is at a crossroads. It must decide whether the NGAD's ambitious goals are worth the price tag, or if it needs to scale back the program to something more financially sustainable. Either way, the future of the NGAD is uncertain, and the outcome of this review will have a profound impact on the Air Force's strategy moving forward.
Okay. Is this guy insane?
Let's react to another Brian Johnson video. This one's called I Tried to Make My Face Younger.
This is me 1 year ago. This is me 4 months ago. And here I am today. What happened? You know, I used to get a lot of hate, and people were suggesting, you know, I was one step away from death. That caused a lot of reflection.
And this is for a guy who's trying to live as long as he possibly can. There's always going to be nasty comments.
In modern warfare, air power is everything, and when the nations of the world send flying machines to face armies on the ground, the results are often devastating.
This guy knows his science.
A very
This is the KF-51 Panther, and it's not just a
high-speed pass. It's fast. It's fast like a Dark Star should be. How's it going, guys? We got Dark Star V2 here. I printed up V2.
Scary video in Israel. Two F-16s nearly hit each other. Scary video in Israel. Two F-16s nearly hit each other when one's taking off and one's clearing the runway, and it's sporty. So a week ago, an Israeli Air Force F-16 almost crashed, and the incident is under investigation. During the incident, Emmanuel Fabian reports that at the Ramat David Air Base in northern Israel, they were taking off for a strike in Lebanon when it identified another fighter jet crossing the runway. It maneuvered out of the way moments before hitting the other plane. There's leaked footage. The IDF says, due to the issuance of a wrong takeoff approval by the control tower while another plane was still on the runway, crews responded quickly, professionally, and serious safety incidents. We're going to break down that video. We'll take a look at the left first, the actual HUD tape, and then if there's anything we can see here, we'll look. I've never seen the two-camera setup, though. It's interesting. So for those that don't know, I've never seen an F-16 HUD before. From left to right, that's your G-meter, calibrated airspeed right here. Your pitch ladder, angle of attack staple, flight path marker. Your MSL altitude, your radar altitude, so above ground level, essentially. And then there's some tactical information, your different radios. I have never seen this before, but that is fuel. So interesting. It must be a new block thing, but that's pretty cool. The fuel's up there as well. And that's really all that is pertinent here as we look. And then that's obviously the heading of the runway, so a 290 runway. Runway 29, let us play. We'll play it once, and then we'll come back and break it down. Oh, geez. So I don't speak of the runway, so the fuel's up there as well. And that's really all that is pertinent here as we look. And then that's obviously the heading of the runway, so a 290 runway. Runway 29, let's play. We'll play it once, and then we'll come back and break it down. Oh, geez. So I don't speak Hebrew, but I'm guessing it was holy crap. And then he keys up on the radio, he's aborting, and then he's going to need fire and rescue equipment because of hot brakes. So let's take a look. With 11,000 pounds of fuel, that's two 370-gallon wing tanks, more than likely. And so this is going to be an afterburner takeoff. And I don't know if he's single ship or there's as part of a formation. I'm assuming he'd be part of a formation as well. All right. So
why don't they have like an autopilot alarm?
So he's already
like
talking
a radar on the ground
about it. He's at 159 knots, and
that's basically fast enough to take off.
Is aborting.
So he probably pulled the chute. I think they have a chute in the back for emergency brake.
And there's the airplane right there.
He could have hit him.
That he barely clears. And now it's just an abort. So, hell of a reaction. And he gets back on center line. I mean, great flight.
So the tower is supposed to look at the runway. Someone at the tower is supposed to look at the runway. What is this nonsense? So the tower person needs to be relieved immediately.
Flying. One more time. We'll look at the one on the right now. So you can see him up there. He sees it, and that dude's trying to get out the way too. So they're both kind of. Something similar happened at Nellis, I guess around 10 years ago, maybe less, where two aircraft actually hooked the rails. One didn't clear, but it wasn't like this. And that pilot was really messed up for a long time. So this would have been a very, very bad mishap had it happened. Now, so a little bit of academics. When you fly a fighter, we do what's called takeoff and landing data. And that is all based on your configuration and your weight and what kind of takeoff you're doing. You can either do mill power or afterburner. In a configuration like this, it's more than likely going to be an afterburner takeoff. So the numbers on your lineup card would be your min-excel check speed. So at, I don't remember if it was 2,000 or 1,000.
Okay. I gotta go. Sorry. I gotta go. But I'll be back. See you. Bye.